January 23rd, 2016 meeting of the Ways and Means Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Ansello?
Here.
Mr. Baroth?
Here.
Dr. Carbone? Here. Mr. Delahanty?
Here.
Chairwoman Draw?
Here.
Mr. Felder?
Here.
Mr. Hebert?
Here.
Mr. Marionetti?
Here.
Mr. Morelli?
Here.
Mr. Moyo?
Here.
Mr. Rocco?
Here.
And would you like to join me in stand in the Pledge of Allegiance being led by Legislator Morelli tonight?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Nicely done. Thank you. Are there any speakers signed up this evening for public forum?
There are not.
Is there anyone in here who would like to address the committee at this time? Seeing none. The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the minutes of the January 26, 2016 meeting in your folder. They'll stand approved unless the clerk is notified by any changes by the end of today. Ooh. New business. The next item, new business. Madam Clerk.
Referral 16-0065.
Moved by Legislator Hebert, seconded by Legislator Carbone. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0066.
Moved by Legislator Carbone and seconded by Legislator Delahanty. Is there any discussion? Legislator Baroth.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, I have a quick question about this referral. It refers to the grant providing such activity as aviation planning. What exactly is aviation planning?
I'm Tom Goodwin, Planning Manager with the Department of Planning and Development. Through the chair, aviation planning involves land use around airports, not just the Greater Rochester International Airport, but the other smaller airports that are in the county. So there's concern by FAA about land use that occurs around those airports as well.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, as a follow-up, how many airports were we talking about in this grant funding process in the region?
Through the chair, I'd have to get back to you on that. I'm not familiar with exactly how many are in the region.
Okay, thank you. And finally, through the chair, I think more importantly, I know that this body has been has authorized the purchase of multiple properties around our airport and the Rochester area. My question is, does this aviation planning that is done through this grant impact the selection process or the overall plan that we have around the Rochester Airport area?
Through the chair, it wouldn't impact it directly. The Regional Planning Council primarily involves land use around the smaller airports. The authority for land use within the 1 mile radius of the Greater Rochester International Airport obviously involves the airport staff, but it involves our department as well.
So finally, just so I'm clear, so then, at least within a 1 mile radius of the Rochester Airport, this grant funding does not pertain, it does not apply?
Through the chair, not directly.
I can't resist. So through the chair, how does it impact indirectly?
Well, through the chair, we work very closely with the Regional Planning Council. So they are obviously aware of some of the land use that develops in and around the Greater Rochester International Airport. But the authority for that primarily rests with the airport itself and with our department.
Okay. So through the chair, so I'm clear, so the airport authority, with help from your department, could override or just decide to do their own thing if they determine that was in the best interest of the airport?
Through the chair, if it involved county property, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0067.
Moved by Legislator DeHanty, second by Legislator Rocco. Any discussion? Legislator Baroth.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, I noticed something in the referral that I hope sincerely is a typo. And the last paragraph it talks about the project is 90% funded by the Genesee Transportation Council and an in-kind match of 10% from staff of the Department of Planning and Development. Am I correct to assume it's not from the staff? It's actually from the Department of Planning and Development? Through the chair.
Through the chair, the grant money goes to offset the staff salaries for the work that's done for the land use report. So 10% of the value of that grant comes directly from staff.
Okay. Then through the chair of the administration, I understand. I would point out that this is, it reads a little misleadingly, and it didn't make me happy. Thank you.
Any other discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item. Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0068.
Moved by legislator Rocco, seconded by legislator Ansello. Is there any other any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0069.
Moved by legislator Ansello and seconded by legislator Marianetti. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0070.
Moved by legislator Marianetti and seconded by legislator Hebert. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0071.
Moved by legislator Hebert and seconded by legislator Carbone. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0072.
Moved by legislator Carbone and seconded by legislator Delahanty. Is there any discussion on this? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0073.
Moved by legislator Delahanty and seconded by legislator Rocco. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0074.
Moved by legislator Rocco and seconded by legislator Ansello. Is there any discussion on this? Legislator Barat.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, am I correct to understand that the purpose of this grant is to reduce the backlog? Is that correct?
Through the chair, yes.
Thank you. And through the chair of the administration, one of the things that notice is paying for accreditation expenses. What are these accreditation expenses through the chair?
Through the chair, those are some of the expenses that are paid for the accreditation fees for labs such as ASCLD that come in to accredit certain laboratories, and we're accredited by ASCLD Lab.
Thank you. And then through the chair of the administration, it seems to me that these accreditation expenses aren't actually something that is either going to hinder or aid the reduction of backlog for the department. And my question is, are we sure that using these grant funds to pay for accreditation expenses is a legitimate use of the funds?
Through the chair, for this particular grant, it does allow them to pay for accreditation expenses, and in the long run, it does help to reduce backlog.
Thank you. Through the chair, because it's actually a part and parcel of the nature of the work.
Through the chair, yes.
But if they deem it's acceptable, then fair enough. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0075.
Moved by legislator Ansello and seconded by legislator Marianetti. Is there any discussion on this? Legislator Barat.
Thank you. I know this has been discussed earlier. I just want to ask briefly, is this a grant that has to be funneled through the county, through the chair?
Through the chair, Fred Ryan with Office of Emergency Management. This is a federal grant that goes through the state to the county.
Thank you, but it has to go through the county, correct?
Through the chair, yes.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0076.
Moved by legislator Marianetti and seconded by legislator Hebert. Is there any discussion on this? Legislator Morelli.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Through you to the administration, I see it says here that several consultants were considered. how many in total through you were considered when given this project?
Through the chair, Jason Kennedy, Environmental Services. 6 firms submitted proposals and were considered for the project.
Thank you. And through you to the administration, why is it that this firm, have they done this type of work before and had successful projects? Have we used them in the past through you?
Through the chair, this is a good firm. We have used them in the past. They have performed successfully, but more specifically, all of the firms are selected based on a qualifications-based selection process the county utilizes, and that's based on a number of selection criteria that are established in the request for proposals that the consultants then respond to. Each of those selection criteria are weighted accordingly and then reviewed and scored by the selection committee, and ultimately the high score consultant wins, if you will.
Through you to the administration, is it possible for us to get a copy of that criteria?
Through the chair, yes, the criteria, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam
Any
Chair.
other discussion on this? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0078.
Moved by legislator Hebert and seconded by legislator Carbone. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0080.
Moved by legislator Carbone and seconded by legislator Delahanty. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0082.
Moved by legislator Delahanty and seconded by legislator Rocco. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0084.
Moved by legislator Rocco and seconded by legislator Ansello. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0086.
Moved by legislator Ansello and seconded by legislator Marionetti. Is there any discussion? Legislator Morelli.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Through you to the administration, what is the engineer's estimate for this project?
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, the engineer's estimate was just short of $266,000.
And through you to the administration, I know we've used CP Ward in the past. Generally, do they have a good history of meeting the bids that when they submit those? Their estimates, rather?
Through the chair, the quantities for the items are put together by ourselves and our engineer, and then we do look to see, as they're doing the work, then we calculate and measure what they do install if it's a measurable quantity. But do they do a good job? Yes, they do.
Thank you.
Of course they do. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0087.
Moved by legislator Marionetti and seconded by legislator Hebert. Any discussion? Legislator Baroth.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, what was the engineer's estimate on this one?
Through the chair, the engineer's estimate was a little over $538,000.
Thank you. And through the chair of the administration, with the increased costs of $63,000, do we have an updated figure for the local share?
Through the chair, the local share will be 5% of the entire, whatever we spent, up to $730,000.
Okay, thank you. Makes sense.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0088.
Moved by legislator Hebert and seconded by legislator Carbone. Is there any discussion on this? Legislator Baroth.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, I don't know if this has been asked in transportation or not, but I noticed that the design services are significantly higher than we see them in other cases, and this does not seem to be an incredibly complicated project, given that it's essentially road work and culvert replacement and things along those lines. My question is, why is the special services estimates or cost so high in this case? Through the chair.
Madam Chair, we're on 888, correct?
We are.
Yes.
Through the chair, this is it's a road job. It's not a culvert project, and it's fairly long and a significant amount of survey that needs to be done. We're going to be doing quite a bit of drainage work out there, as well as maybe replacing some culverts. So this design cost is well in line with what we estimate percentage-wise of the construction cost.
Okay, so thank you. Through the chair, so I understand, but the bulk of the special services cost will be for essentially surveying the long roadway. Is that correct?
Through the chair, yes. Any of the special services is for survey work as well as mapping of any right-of-way that we may need, things like that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0089.
Moved by Legislator Carbone and seconded by Legislator Delahanty. Is there any discussion on this? Legislator Morelli.
Thank you. Through you to the administration, just for my own understanding, is this the project that we've discussed in the past in between down by, it's essentially the Dunkin' Donuts over there to 590 and the city line there? Is that correct?
Through the chair, that's correct.
And this is where we've discussed changing in the number of lanes, correct?
Through the chair, I think that's a two-lane section except for at Culver itself. So
I think this is the project that we met with the town a while back. Is that correct?
Through the chair, that is not correct. The project we talked about with the town, we talked about a couple of projects with the town. One was the resurfacing that just completed this past year was Culver Road from Norton by the Dunkin' Donuts northerly to 104.
This one is Norton.
This is Norton Street, which goes from Culver Road easterly to 590.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0090.
Moved by Legislator Delahanty and seconded by Legislator Rocco. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing, Legislator Felder. Welcome.
Forgive my lateness with my hand. Through the chair. First question I have is, what was the engineer's estimate for this construction? For this particular?
Through the chair, the engineer's estimate was $3,400,000, approximately $66,000.
So through the chair, is this going to be enough to cover that? To cover that, if it's only 2.9 million or so? If the estimate is for another?
Well, through the chair, the engineer's estimate was that the actual bids were 2.9 million.
My question is the engineer's through the chair. My question is, if the engineer's estimate is that amount, is this going to be enough, or are we going to wind up having to amend it to come back and pay more money to actually find out they bid and cannot meet the bid because it really is going to cost $3.4 million?
Through the chair, they did bid this amount, and they will be, unless we add significant amount of items in there, we won't come close to what the engineer's estimate was, but we would have to come back to the legislature to get any more money beyond the total of $11,725,000 that we're requesting. I'm not sure if I'm answering your question.
That's sufficient. One other question through the chair. So when the original 11 million. When the original amount was requested, which was less than $10 million, when did you find out that you needed to add the other $1.875 million, or was it foreseeable, or was it because of this extra project? What caused the increase? from the original
Through
bond?
the chair, Bob Franklin from County Finance. The requested increase to the capital fund of $1.875 million is not necessarily attributable solely to this project. There are actually several projects for which the design work and construction cost are being run through Capital Fund 1673. In the original plan, since these projects were begun several years ago, the cost of construction for these various projects were going to be charged to multiple capital funds, but because New York State Department of Transportation has increased the number of required audits for DOT projects, from an accounting and audit standpoint, we have asked the DOT director to work with us on increasing this particular capital fund to accommodate the several projects being charged to it, such that the cost of these projects remain only in one capital fund.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Legislator Morelli.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chairwoman, to the administration. So in order for us to get a better understanding of how all of this is being divvied out, is it possible that we can have a list of all the projects, since it's not just this project that is in that capital, that we're talking about in the capital budget?
Through the chair, yes, we will get you that.
Through the chair, do we have any idea as to how many projects this particular piece is this particular capital budget line item is going toward?
Through the chair, I would say there's probably 2, possibly 3 projects that have already been funded from this capital fund.
Through you, Madam Chairwoman, and those projects have already been paid for and are complete?
Through the chair, that is correct.
So through you to the administration, are we asking for additional funds in this capital budget increase to provide for projects that we don't know of yet? Is that what I'm getting from Mr. Franklin's
Through
comments?
the chair, no, that is not correct. We are now, because of what the finance director talked about in terms of audits with the state, we are now going to show all the money for Basket Road under this capital fund instead of under several capital funds, which is what the plan was before. So, no, we won't be. It'll all be under one capital fund for Basket Road, and we will not be looking to add others to this fund either. And going forward, we will have one capital fund for each highway project, and the capital program will be changed accordingly.
So through you, just for clarification then, so the capital fund will supply the money for all of these projects versus one project having multiple funds funding it. Is that correct?
Yes, through the chair, correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0091.
Moved by Legislator Rocco and seconded by Legislator Ansello. Is there any discussion on this? Legislator Barak.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, why do we check if the property owners owe delinquent taxes?
Through the chair, it's standard county policy on any referral that involves funding.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, is there any cost associated with checking if they owe delinquent taxes?
Through the chair, no, there's not.
That's good. Through the chair, to the administration, I asked because we learned in a prior committee, I believe it was a committee meeting, that even if the property owner owes taxes, that actually makes no difference whatsoever in terms of the acquisition of the property or the property rights. Is that correct, through the chair?
Through the chair, it's all reviewed and analyzed on a case-by-case or project-by-project basis.
Through the chair of the administration, I don't understand what that means.
Well, each project would be different, and if there was I would imagine if there was a possibility to delay the project until the taxes were paid, then, we might consider that, depending on, what project it was.
Through the chair of the administration, is that something that the county has done in the past?
Through the chair, yes.
Interesting. So through the chair of the administration, just so I'm clear, in cases where we have property owners who owe taxes, whereas we're not capable of obliging them to use these funds to pay for back taxes owed, we can and have upon occasion delayed or shifted how projects go forward in order to encourage the payment of taxes. Is that correct?
Through the chair, that's a possibility, and we try to encourage the people to pay the taxes before we finalize or start any project.
And then finally, through the chair of the administration, and that has in fact succeeded at least upon one occasion, through the chair.
I'm not aware that we've actually delayed a project because of it, but it is reviewed.
Legislator Broth, I think I'd like to just really stick to this. If you have additional questions on that, maybe you could put them in writing.
Through the chair, I mean, the questions that he's asking are relevant because in other cases, we've looked at acquisitions of property and people have owed property taxes, and yet we can't do anything about it, so what's the point of checking? I think it's a good question
I think he answered that for you. So, thank you. Any other discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Next item. Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0092.
Moved by Legislator Ansello and seconded by Legislator Marinetti. Any discussion on that, on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0093.
Moved by Legislator Marinetti and seconded by Legislator Hebert. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0094.
Moved by Legislator Hebert and seconded by Legislator Carbone. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. And that is the last on this agenda. Are there any other matter? Oh, I'm sorry. Next item.
Referral 16-0095.
Moved by Legislator Carbone and seconded by Legislator Delahunty. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Next item.
Referral 16-0096.
Moved by Legislator Delahunty and seconded by Legislator Rocco. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 16-0097.
Moved by Legislator Rocco and seconded by Legislator Ansello. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 16-0098.
Moved by Legislator Ansello and seconded by Legislator Marinetti. Legislator Barath.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, do we anticipate any other ticketed events being scheduled on county-owned parks this coming year?
Through you, Madam Chairman, could you please repeat the question?
Of course. Through the chair of the administration, does the county anticipate any other ticketed events being organized in this upcoming year for Monroe County parks?
Through you, Madam Chair, not at this time.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, submitter importance.
Referral 16-0103.
Moved by Legislator Marinetti and seconded by Legislator Hebert. Legislator Hebert. Sorry,
Thank you, Madam
Councilor Burns.
Chairwoman. Through you to the administration, could you please explain why this is coming to us as a matter of importance?
Through the chair, Andy Moore, Deputy Director at the airport. The leadership of the airport met with the FAA down in New York City about 3 weeks ago to go over 2016 projects. The FAA identified this as a project that they'd like to see sooner versus later. Therefore, we agreed with that and requested that the administration speed this up. Thank you.
Thank you. Legislator Morelli.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Through you to the administration, I see that there's 5% of local share. Is that the county that will be providing that 5%?
Through the chair, it will be the airport authority that provides the 5% local share.
Thank you very much.
Any other discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. And now, I can say, we're done with our agenda. Is there any other matters to come before this committee? Seeing none, the February 23rd meeting of the Ways and Means stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Ways and Means Committee will be on Tuesday, March 22nd at 6 p.m. Have a nice evening.